Everybody, this is going to be a quick video coming to you just before the Scourge event goes live tonight. We're answering some of the most asked questions since I put out that Envoy release video yesterday. Let's get into it. Question number 1, can I use Miles instead of blank? Whoever I have the least red stars on, yellow stars, America Chavez, because you don't want to invest in her because she's Mystic. Bunch of great questions. Let's answer that. And to answer that, we got to look at some information, right? We got to look at the chosen 3. Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl. You will not be replacing any of these 3. They are crucial mechanically to how the team works. Next, so we know our 2 replacements, right? We got Echo and we have America Chavez. Now, Echo is tempting to replace because you might not have a lot of yellow stars on her. But in the Tale of 2 passives, she actually comes out ahead. So, America Chavez, and I'm blocking this, she gives Young Avenger allies 25% max health. Pretty big, especially what you're going to see later on in this video. But not the end of the world, because we are doing that crazy balancing act with Squirrel Girl, doing her continual healing, right? And then we have Echo. So, on spawn, apply defense up to Young Avengers. On spawn, 2 turns. That's a great passive. However, in the node that matters most, node 5, there's going to be a Zemo, and he's going to strip it off you anyway, because you don't spawn with deflex, nothing like that. 9 times out of 10, it peels everything off. Sometimes you'll have an offense up left or a defense up left from the Kate and Echo passives. She will retaliate for 250% extra damage. This is a great source of damage. It is also a great source of headache, because she'll kill Greg quite often with this, right? Unless Greg targets her, she's going to kill Greg, and that's an extra turn meter rewind you just didn't want to deal with. But here comes the reason why she definitely edged out America Chavez. She gains 10% damage if there's a skill enemy, and she gives all Young Avenger allies 25% damage. That is a huge number. You also got to factor in she does have that special with the dodges, which is very impactful if you can reach that turn. So, in who you're going to replace, it's going to be America Chavez, but you do need to keep 5 Young Avengers. I know a lot of people were talking about adding Yo-Yo because of the way Kate and Squirrel Girl passives read. Whenever any Young Avenger ally drops, they're going to do their passive. Either they're going to gain speed bar, they're going to throw out a blind and a slow. So you want to have 5 people that can activate that. So what does Miles Morales bring? His basic does extra buff strips, right? So even if you have him as a striker, when he attacks on the ISO attack, he's going to strip extra buffs along with Miss Marvel, which is very powerful. So very, very strong basic compared to America Chavez's defense down and Echo's just straight damage. Then we have the special, 50% speed bar rewind and 2 turns of slow. That is going to be super impactful controlling the Doctor Strange Heartless or the Doctor Strange OG. The ultimate does 4 disrupts. So I don't find this ultimate to be very useful on node 5, but on node 10, it's fantastic. So if you're building up only 5 Young Avengers, you can only afford to build up 5, I would definitely suggest Miles Morales. And then the passive, he does do a random defense down on his turn. It's untargeted, and if he targets somebody who already has defense down, very unlikely if he's the only one on the team that's doing defense down, he'll gain offense up. But I have had it happen, and it hits like a truck when that happens. So yeah, let me show you my likely team. My team is going to be, and I'm blocking Echo here, Kate, Echo, Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, and Squirrel Girl. Now what I will say is if I had a 3 red, 3 yellow Echo, even though she does damage, because she does kind of hurt you with that retaliate sometimes, and because the defense up doesn't really matter, if I had a 3 red, 3 yellow Echo, I might be taking in America Chavez instead. She'll get more defense downs for Miles to potentially get that offense up. She does do very big damage on her special if you have that T forward, and the percentile life will make it less likely that you get one shot out of nowhere. But my Echo is 5 red, 5 yellow, and God willing, maybe 6 red, 6 yellow, if I somehow pull 60 shards from her. So this is going to be my team, and it's going to be very individual dependent, but I will continue to say the trifecta of Kate, Miss Marvel, and Squirrel Girl is going to be necessary for everybody. So now that we got that one out of the way, let's go talk about question number 2. So question number 2, what are the best T4s and ISO 8 for my Young Avenger team to tackle Node 5? What I have listed here is going to be what I consider like the essential T4s. There's a lot of high value luxury T4s that I'll touch on as well. So I'm blocking America Chavez, but just her special, if you're going to use her, that special hits like an absolute truck on a full Young Avenger team. So make sure you have that one done. Miles Morales, the special, the ultimate, and the passive. The special, an extra turn to slow. The ultimate, 4 disrupts instead of just 1. And the passive is kind of a heavy RNG moment. When his passive targets somebody who already has defense down, he'll gain offense up. Now that seems very minuscule and very RNG. No one really likes that, including myself. I did have it happen where he completely he didn't clear a wave, but he brought them all 30% lower life, which I thought was crazy strong. So I really like that additional offense up. For Kate, just the special and the passive. The special is going to give her 2 offense up to her and her entire team when she uses it while charged. The passive is going to give 2 turns of offense up on spawn, but Zemo erases that just like with Echo, so don't count on that. What it does do, however, increases the damage of her passive by 50%, and she's popping that off all over the place, so I think that's a strong enough increase to include that. Miss Marvel, the basic is going to give 2 deflects instead of 1 on every attack. Super, super useful. She's going to be getting that taunt very often with everybody dropping below 50 consistently, so I think that one is worth putting on. The ultimate gives extra chance for ability energy. I think this one is definitely a high value T4, but there's so much RNG into it. Who's getting the energy? Is the energy actually coming? So high value for sure. I'll probably end up doing that one when I try and push my max run. So I don't want people to think that that's not good. I just didn't include it here. For Squirrel Girl, the special, instead of clearing 2 debuffs, clear all debuffs. That is absolutely gigantic on this mode and this node. You're going to need that one. The passive increases the speed bar gain when somebody drops below 50% from 10 to 30. Absolutely gigantic. That is the most important T4 on this team for this mode. Definitely do that one right now if you have the ability and you haven't done it yet. Then you have Echo. The special is, let me read Echo, a little shaky on that. I believe it gives 2 dodge instead of just 1. That is absolutely correct, so we're definitely going to want that. It chains to more targets. It chains consistently to 2 instead of 1 to 2, which can hit a Greg, which sucks, but the extra dodge is definitely necessary. The ultimate is just a big damage stat. It's going to increase the chain from 3 to 4 to 4 to 6, so that's a lot of extra damage out there. So I do suggest that one. And then we have the passive. The passive is where she gets a lot of that damage. So this is where she's going to increase Young Avenger damage from, I believe it's 10% to 25%, extra 15% damage. That is obviously absolutely necessary. So I think after that, we should talk about luxury T4. So your basics on every single Young Avenger is a very strong luxury T4, including Squirrel Girl. So even though Squirrel Girl is a healer, if you put that T4, it brings the offense down chance that it's going to go on to the, I believe it's the highest speed enemy, from 50% to a guaranteed 100%. So even though she's a healer, that T4 is very strong. And then we already talked about the Miss Marvel one, so what we should talk about is the Kate Ultimate. It does hit very hard. You're going to probably use it once during the node, and it will kill Greg if Greg is up. So that's why I didn't include it as an essential, but if you're min-maxing, throw that on, hold it until after Greg is dead, or if you feel the need to throw it while he's still up, then go ahead and throw it. And then the Squirrel Girl Ultimate, 2 turns of heal block, not that big a deal, but it's unavoidable or unmissable. When she's blinded, it still hits, and it gives offense down as well. So it's a very strong T4, and you're probably going to be using that into Greg regardless because of that blanket offense down it gives. So I do find that one to be pretty strong. You're going to use it pretty much every time you can. And then for America Chavez, if you wanted to do the ultimate, I get it. I don't think it's impactful enough, even as a luxury T4, to slap that on. So next we got to talk about ISO 8. I like Striker on everybody but Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl. Miss Marvel clearly needs to be a skirmisher. And then you have Squirrel Girl. The argument is the Striker, she's going to put that offense down out there more often. I get that. With the next section we're going to talk about, you're going to understand why Healer is so much better if you're going to try that. Because it goes from healing all your characters save 50% of their life to completely maxing them out. So with that little spoiler thrown in there, let's go ahead and get to question number 3. And question number 3 comes in, if difficulty 8 is so easy, which is what I said, why not difficulty 9? Great question. Difficulty 9 was impossible, not impossible, but super difficult to complete, and you needed the widest, craziest roster in the Pestilence event. I assume that would be the same here. My assumption was wrong. So this is node 1, city node, so I did have to take one extra team compared to what I did on difficulty 8. And what I tried to do on these teams is I tried to take teams that I have built on my personal roster that have a lot of value in other modes, so people would be more likely to have them built. So Shadowlands is probably the outlier there. If you're a war player, you definitely have them built up to around 750k. So they go in, they kill basically the Cable and the Blob. That's all you need them to do. So you could get that accomplished with a Heroes for Hire team as well if you have them built up high enough. So it took me three attacks. Already I'm using one more team than I had to last time. Let's go ahead and look at node number 2. And this is where it got interesting. I 2-tapped it very easily. So everyone has Web Warriors built up, right? Lots of people have Shang-Chi built up because of his use in the skill section of the Doom Raid. I took out Miles, obviously, because we're going to save Miles. All you have to do is kill Bishop. You kill Bishop, and then when you go in with Symbiotes, who, again, a lot of people have built up from when they were the Bio Raid team, you just feed off the Hela, and you slowly burn. It was like a 10-minute fight, but I got through it easily enough. And then we go over and we head to node number 3. Now this is where I kind of focus on my roster more than other people's. I have Uncanny built. I like the Uncanny team. I thought they were a lot of fun. They're definitely a war team. I have them built up pretty much identical to what it is on the test server. They are pretty instrumental here. So if you don't have this team built up, I'm sure you can work your way through it, but it's going to hurt you on the next node. So if you have Uncanny built up, you're not going to have problems. So anyway, you throw Uncanny in, you kill the first wave. Lo and behold, there's another Hela. So Uncanny dies, then you throw in the Astonishing X-Men. Again, it's a 10-minute fight, but you get through it easily enough. So we've done 3 out of the 10 nodes. That's more than I ever did on the last event. Now this one, I just got sick and tired of it because this was like midnight. It's now 5 a.m. So you can maybe give me a little bit of slack here. I threw in Unlimited X-Men, and I did not expect this to happen at all. This was on the first attempt, and I just one-shot it. It ended up being Gambit and Rogue on the ends, just going back and forth. They killed the last 4 people. We're not going to have a Rogue that big, so that's not going to work. But we'll still have our Astonishing X-Men. We'll have X-Factor with X-23. We'll have Weapon X with a bunch of their characters. And then you're going to have some throw-ins, right? You'll have Emma, you'll have Sinister. You'll be able to whittle this node down if you have a wide enough roster. So I don't see this being a roadblock. And then I hit node 5. And node 5 was a roadblock on the test server. I unfortunately did almost get through it, but I didn't take a screenshot of it. And then later I did, but not my best run. The screenshot you're going to see is not my best run. So let's get into it. This is the screenshot I took. You can see I killed Doctor Strange Heartless and I killed OG Strange. And that is kind of like the, okay, the ticking time bomb that is Heartless's ultimate, and the res from Doctor Strange is gone. Fantastic. Unfortunately, Hela at this point, I took this picture. I was like, okay, we'll take this picture, and we're going to take a picture every time we kill an enemy. As soon as I took this picture, Hela came and killed Miss Marvel. It is what it is. My Miss Marvel is going to be a lot bigger on live, and even at this live with the deflect, I don't think this Hela would have killed her. So is this node more volatile than difficulty 8? Yes, but doing this node on difficulty 8 with Squirrel Girl having an extra turn needed for her heal and getting blind when you use ultimate and getting bleeds and trauma and stuff. Oh my god, it's so much more complicated than just doing it like this on difficulty 9 with one Scourge put on, which we're going to talk about. So I got to my best run. It took me about an hour to get to. Then I did another hour and I got to this point, and then I said, I'm going to bed. So I hope you guys understand that. But I'm going to extrapolate that to what I did in the Morgan Le Fay event on Node 5 with Web Warriors. I'm talking 50, 60 hours spent on that node resetting. A lot of people with bigger Young Avengers than I think it's 770k, they're going to get through this node easily enough. And I'm actually using Chavez here instead of Miles, which is not great. Yeah, a lot of people are going to get through this on difficulty 9. It is possible. But let's talk about how clean you're going to get through it, right? So, difficulty 9, it's possible. Let's leave it at that for now. This is what the run I just showed you had on. It only had one Scourge on, and it was remove revive once from that character, which is just a shout out at Dormammu in those last 4 nodes of the Villain and the Cosmic Mystic. So that'll net you 1.83 million points, or if you're only going to do 9 nodes, if you say you use all 3 teams to get through node 5, 1.64 million. Not a bad score whatsoever. See what that equates to on difficulty 8. So difficulty 8 with basically every single Scourge put on except the ones that I thought would be impossible. So that's the fill speed bar by 100%, offense up on spawn, block when you stun, stun when you block, and trauma when you drop below 50%. Basically everything else thrown on only gets you 1.8 million. Now, in my testing, on a balanced account, which is admittedly weaker than a lot of people's high-end rosters, I found difficulty 9 to be simpler, less RNG, and more enjoyable than difficulty 8 with all these Scourges on, and it gives more points. Kind of crazy, right? I think that's kind of crazy. And then, if like you see my best friend down here, 1.571, that was with a good, I think, 170 or so Scourges thrown on, and that score would be less than doing only 9 nodes on difficulty 9 with just that one Scourge put on. I guess the moral of the story is I think doing a higher difficulty and crawling your way through it, even if you only do 9 nodes, is possible in this Scourge when it was not possible in the Morgan Le Fay event. At least the difference between difficulty 8 and 9 if you're at that point in the game. So this is kind of good news. It's kind of good news because it's going to give my content that I make for you guys have an extra element to it. So say you're doing difficulty 4. Well, if you have the type of teams that I'm going to be using, just obviously at a lower level if you're doing difficulty 4, you can extrapolate that information and maybe do difficulty 5, throwing less Scourges on. So I'm pretty interested in that. And of course, we're going to be doing this. We're going to kill this mode by time, not by score, I should mention. So we're going to have a lot more information coming out. I just thought I'd get this to you guys. Most asked questions. Those are the 3 most asked questions. I hope you enjoyed. All right, guys. Well, that's what I got for you today. I got to run to work real quick. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later if you're on Twitch tonight at around 8 p.m. Eastern. Well, no, my kids are gone camping. If you're on Twitch tonight in like 10 hours when I'm home from work, I'm going to be on. We're definitely going to be going into Scourge content like crazy. I'm going to start with difficulty 9. I'm probably going to only do the 1 Scourge on there. And I'm going to do some coaching for people along the way. So join me on Twitch. We're also going to have a war with V for Vendetta. It's going to be great. Again, I don't know if I said this already. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.